What's up, guys? Welcome to Wasted Space, and a bit of a different video for you today, as I'm joined by Tomas Psenicka from Keen Software House, and I've probably brutalised your name, so for that I apologise, but welcome, Tomas. Hi.
Hey.
So I guess a great place for us to kick this off is perhaps you could tell us a little bit about what exactly it is you do at Keen Software House, so we kind of know where you're coming from.
Well, what I do at Keen Software House, that's a good question. I do pretty much I do business development. I do also some PR stuff. I do pretty much a mix of everything, and I also do like project management. And let's say that I do a lot of the stuff that Marek doesn't have time for, and also like manage the development process. That's what I currently do.
So essentially, kind of the guy making sure each bit is in the right order and in the right
exactly.
place at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. How long have you been working for Keen?
Oh well, I would say that like since forever, because I've met Marek a few years ago. So I also worked with Marek on the Minor Wars briefly, years ago. But I really only joined the company like 7 months ago or 8 months ago. I can't remember.
Okay, cool. So it's sort of brought in later down the line, but in touch with the company right from the start.
Yes.
Okay. What's the work environment like at Keen? I think that's one thing we all wonder. Like, what's the office place like for you guys?
I think that we can make a piece about that, in the future, and I think that we are actually planning it. But the work environment, I think, is quite nice. It's it's an office building, so that shows kind of, and but it's not like it's open space pretty much. But we like that because we like to talk with each other and be very open about everything. So we don't have like each other. Even the management doesn't have their own offices. It's very open. Very communicative. It's I think that it's a very good work environment. Marek takes good care of us.
Oh, awesome. And is it the sort of place where there's constantly people charging around like lunatics, or is it kind of calm and collected?
So it depends. When we need to hit some kind of schedule, then everybody's running around, and everybody wants to get things done. But other than that, it's not like that people are shouting, running around. It's a very quiet. It's quite a quiet work environment.
So about 3:30 p.m. on a Thursday, it's pretty busy, pretty excited.
Yes.
Cool. Well, I guess I should ask some questions a bit more specific about some of the games. So the roadmap, obviously really excited to see all the stuff in that.
Thank you.
How do you feel things are progressing? It was a few weeks ago. Do you feel things have started moving really smoothly, or?
Yeah, another good question. I was just now. I was I had team meetings with everybody, and I think that things are progressing good. We are working on the important stuff, especially like polishing the two games, because there are some things that when you like touch the game for the first time, you want it to be like very friendly to you. You want it to be intuitive. So that's what we are currently working on now, and I think that things are progressing very well.
Yeah, cool. And it definitely is something where I find coming into this, even as an experienced player, at times I'll sit there and I'll have a blank moment while I try and work out what it is I'm about to do and how I should start it. And I can't imagine how that must be for the first experience in the game, just presented with all this stuff. How do you get your head around it?
Yes. Well, we are especially working, on redesigning the graphic user interface and everything, and things like highlighting stuff when it's on the ground, and so that it just feels more like up to date, and so that it doesn't have like this indie kind of feeling anymore, and it's more polished and it's more like AAA, so that everybody that jumps in. I'm not saying like overly simplifying the games. What I'm saying that the experience when you first lay your hands on the games has to be more polished. So that's what we are looking, or that's what we want to improve.
Yeah, definitely. And even just little stuff like, I noticed that you've now got the sort of plane indicator when you're placing blocks down. So even little bits like that are already coming through and being kind of really helpful. It's just small little tweaks that make a big difference to how it feels to play, even for someone like myself who's played obviously quite a lot of Space Engineers.
Absolutely, and I think that all the current players and the future players will especially love the new highlighting. You will love it.
You mentioned sort of GUI changes. Does that mean we're going to see a bit of change to the actual sort of UI layout itself, or is this purely on the basis of kind of getting some more contextual hints and stuff like that involved?
I think it's a bit of both, and I think that, well, we will, we are, very early in the design stage at this moment, and we are talking about it, brainstorming all the time, and then we also have to show Marek if he actually likes the basic ideas or where we are heading, and he has to say yes or no. But at this very moment, we are, how to say this? We want to simplify some of the things in the GUI. We want to be more informative, and we want some of the icons, or especially like things like health, and maybe oxygen, stuff like that, to be highlighted more, and inform the player much more than he is now. Like we think that we are throwing too much information at the player currently. Especially in Space Engineers. When you first come into the game, you have to, kind of like look for where your health is, how much percentage of whatever you have. So we want to simplify that. Let's say that a good example of that is this helmet mod. That everybody has installed.
One. Yep, the immersive.
So obviously, it could look like a little bit like this in the future, but we will see how it turns out.
Yeah, that sounds very promising because, as you say, there's a lot of information there, and it's not even very prioritized because everything's the same size, everything's in the same positions, and so, as you say, sort of picking out things like health from the list of numbers, the really important information, is much more difficult than it could be otherwise. So that's super exciting as well. Interesting to hear that that's being played with.
Thank you.
Okay, so I obviously have to talk a little bit about some of the other things that I guess this is all exciting because it's pushing Space Engineers forwards. What about some of the bits that are kind of potentially holding Space Engineers and to some extent medieval engineers as well back a little bit? By which I mean, how's the whole code base side of things going with the sort of performance optimizations and the extra threading that's going to hopefully mean that we don't get the funny desync anymore, for example?
Yeah, there is a lot of stuff that we are working on. Refactoring the code in some ways, and things that players don't see and will not be able to touch for some time now. But there is a lot of stuff that is being done behind the curtains, for example, like dividing the code base of the two games, and working and refactoring pretty much, I wouldn't say like everything, but a lot of stuff is being worked on, and a lot of stuff that players won't be able to see or experience firsthand. But this will all of this stuff that we are currently making will make the development process of our current games and possibly some future games much faster.
That sounds very good. So, just to clarify, because I know people haven't got this in the community really, as of yet, because I think partly because you guys haven't really talked about it much. There is work going on in the background on performance. It has been going on for a while, and it's being done in such a way that we can't see any of it at the moment. Yes?
Yes, absolutely. And it's small stuff, the thing is that, the FPS improves by 1 or 2 sometimes. And you guys don't actually notice it, but it actually does. If you compare the first version of Planets, with the current version of Planets,
it's infinitely better.
Yeah. And if you really do a rollback, to the first version, you will definitely see much improvement. But it's not noticeable sometimes because the weekly updates are 1, 2 FPS here, things like that, so that you don't and stuff that is I don't know, you can't really touch it sometimes, but it's there. It's the improvements are being done, it's being worked on, and you guys will see things like correctly working PBR in a few days, and that's things like correctly displayed aluminum, correctly displayed textures, more shiny stuff basically. And without performance hits, and this will, the game is basically going to get much prettier.
Well, I can imagine, PBR is going to make a big difference because, as you say, it's going to make all those objects and all those surfaces and textures look like they are the materials that they are. So you no longer, hopefully, have shiny Space Engineers beards and sort of weird scenarios where metal isn't.
Yes.
No, that sounds super cool. And one thing you touched on there to do with sort of splitting the two teams and progressing medieval engineers and space engineers, it's a question that I personally really interested in, and I don't know how it sits, but how close are those two games now? Because obviously they kind of branched off of the same engine. How far apart did that branch end up? And how easy is it for you guys now to try and take something from one and put it into the other?
Well, it depends. Well, currently we have a working prototype on medieval in planets. It's looking quite nice, actually. I was very surprised. We might publish some pictures in the future in the development blog, and you guys can check it out and see it. The games didn't diverge that much, so that it's so that we've got so that we would have unsolvable issues. And now by taking medieval to planets, we are going to be able to not diverge that much, or even not diverge at all.
You're starting to converge them back together again,
yes.
almost.
In like the base engine, in VRage.
Mm-hmm. That sounds brilliant, because there's one feature that I love in medieval engineers that I think space engineers could do with so well, is that little G menu feature where you can, multiple block types are grouped on the single block. So for example, all your armor blocks actually only are one armor block, and you roll the mouse wheel to go between them.
Yeah. And again, I've seen today. I've seen some nice documents that our designers did, and you will see some pretty interesting changes about that. The block placement I think is going to get more intuitive. We are also working on the Xbox controller support, so that this will also get much better.
Oh, brilliant! It was actually kind of exciting, because I know at the moment the way controllers function, you don't have the full analog control. Is that something that is going to be coming with that side of things? Because
absolutely,
it could be pretty awesome. Sweet.
Obviously, when we are working now on the Xbox One version, there has to be a change, and there has to be a change in the GUI and in the control itself.
Interesting you mentioned the Xbox One version, because I was hoping in this conversation to get a bit of an update on, because people have asked no end of questions about it, and obviously it's not a massive priority for you guys.
It is. It actually is.
It is now.
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
So
it is. We are working on that, day night, and we hope to have it released as soon as possible. In a let's say a polished state. But it's a lot of work, because obviously we have to. Currently the code is written in C#, and the code that you need to be working on for Xbox One is C++. So there is a lot of conversion going on, and but we are working on that, and it is something that it's one of our big priorities. We are just not communicating it yet, because we want to show something. When we have something, we will show it.
Yeah, it's very hard to sort of get people excited about something, especially when it's something that some people have been hoping for a while without having something to show alongside it.
Absolutely.
So totally understand that. Well, that's very exciting. I know some people will be super pleased to know that, because I think some people have almost given up on the idea that it's being developed at all. So to now hear that it's kind of up there as a priority and you really want to get that out there, that's really cool.
It's absolutely being worked on, and it's one of the priorities that we have.
Okay, so that actually leads nicely into the situation with networking, because you won't be able to use Steam Layer for that, I believe. So how much of that sort of rolls, how much is this all connected together, these developments for Xbox One and the networking developments that are going to be necessary for Xbox One, connected to what's happening with space engineers on the PC, or medieval engineers on the PC?
That's like it's everything is connected together. It's not like that. You are just going to change the networking code, which is like RACnet or Steam networking. It's about everything that is being in the game logic itself, and then trying to put it into multiplayer in a working fashion. So this is a big challenge, but we are going to, because obviously space engineers and medieval engineers are very are very dynamic games. You can you have blocks,
everything in
blocks
the environment
built like
can change,
big ass ships, and then you fly around with them. That's a lot of that's a lot of performance stuff that you have to think about. And when you have to sync have to sync it with multiplayer, it's also something that almost nobody does on the market. So this is a big challenge. We are definitely working on that. The new multiplayer is not out yet. we will be doing some also other changes. We have also strengthened the multiplayer team currently, and Steam networking, maybe is going to be there for the future. Maybe we are going to change it for something else, but that's let's say a small change. First, we need to work on polishing the multiplayer itself so that it doesn't lag, so that the sim speeds are nice, so that the game logic works fine, and so that many people can play on one server.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that sounds very exciting.
We have obviously started working on that, some time ago. I think that people are seeing some good changes, and obviously things like Space Master, and all these features that will be strengthened in the future are one part of that.
Yeah, I mean, Space Master was a wonderful addition, and I mean, again, actually leads into a question quite nicely, which was to do with, in the roadmap, it was mentioned a sort of an attempt to try and integrate some of the stronger tools that the community have created into Space Engineers itself. And it was something that Marek kind of sort of answered on the stream, but I don't think he completely got the question. And it's kind of, is it going to be somewhere where Space Master is sort of expanded to include some of the SE Toolbox functionality and some of the SE functionality actually in-game that we can use like that?
Good of you to ask this question. We are very, very aware of all these tools, and we are very grateful for the to the people that are making those. So this is like a big thumbs up for the community guys that are helping us with the development. And we are definitely, looking at options how to either integrate those things into the game or make them functional. How to say this? The mods are efficient. Maybe expanding the modding support so that they don't have to change the code base every time we do a release or something like that. So we are definitely looking at options how to make the life easier for these guys that are making these things. So again, big thumbs up to them, and we are definitely looking at options how to integrate the better functionalities of these tools into our game, into Space Master, Medieval Master, whatever.
Yeah, those tools are amazing, definitely.
Yes.
There's no question they've made a big difference to how useful Space Engineers and how usable Space Engineers can be. I mean, are you guys actually in contact with Midspace, for example? Or
yes, we are. So Honza Nekvapil, who is the main VRage guy in our company, is actually in direct contact with many of the guys that are doing mods or are doing SE toolboxes or whatever. So we are in direct touch with those guys, and so we are very aware of the problems that they are facing, and we are trying to resolve the issues.
Oh, that's brilliant, because I'm only asking that from the perspective that these guys have put a huge amount of work into the community, and it's nice to know that sort of they are actually talking to you guys about it rather than sort of being in the position where they're sort of isolated off, making them on their own, which is really cool to hear. Yeah.
Now, I would like to add one thing here. The obviously, you guys already know that Keen Software House is a very community-oriented company. So we are always talking with people from the community, and we take everything very seriously what the community wants. And we want to just do the best for them, And let's say that when we look at Marek's Twitch stream, where he's like commenting on stuff in the game, what he wants to improve, that's like almost like a reality show,
Yeah.
We want the people to experience the development itself, so that when Marek is playing something and when he doesn't like it, he just says it like right off the bat. I think it's very cool, and we are going to further expand in some ways the way we communicate with the community itself, be it events, be it all different stuff that we're working on, be it like MBL, which is coming up, I think, Joel, next week, probably. Hopefully next week.
Yeah, so the guys who don't know MBL, that's Mike B's Mechanized Brawler League, which is a very cool thing. You can check that out on his channel, but it looks like Kino getting involved with that a bit as well, so that should be pretty cool.
We are also having some new ideas for especially for you, John, and other YouTubers. Some nice challenges that we will be probably putting you through. That it will
challenges,
be fun.
That sounds scary. Fair enough.
It's not scary at all. It will be fun, actually.
I'm sure it'll be fun. That doesn't mean it can't be scary at the same time. Challenges made up by the developers sounds, slightly concerning, but it sounds fine. That was actually my next question. You jumped straight in. I was going to ask you how things had sort of developed a bit since the roadmap announced, because that really did seem like a turning point to me. Marek seemed to he'd come back, he started the stream things, and it was very refreshing to see such, it was really honest and brutal opinions of how he felt about, what people have to remember is his own games. And it was, it's evident his passion and some of your guys' passion. So it's cool to hear that that's starting to sort of evolve more, involving the community, because Space Engineers does have a very cool community.
Yeah, thank you for that. And it's thank you for saying it. And Marek's passion was always here. It was just that he wasn't showing it on Twitch before.
Oh,
but
fair enough.
He was always very passionate about his own games. This has always been true.
Oh, fair enough. No, I got that wrong then. I just sort of felt like he'd been promoting good AI for a couple of months, and then that was the kind of return back.
But at the same time, he's a workaholic, So his workday is consisted of 16 work hours, basically. So he can split the time between good AI and the game team, and so he's got 8 hours for both.
And not only that, but he's got some very talented individuals like yourself
that can
do those bits as well. Okay, well, I'm going to have to ask some silly questions as well, because I feel it's only appropriate that people get to know you a bit better while we've got you. So,
it's okay.
Who's the big joker in the office? Who's the guy that's always?
I would say
there's
Anton.
Always one.
I would say Anton is the big joker. He's the senior artist / art lead, whatever, and. He is the big joker, I think, in the company, who can have good fun when he's around, and we make German jokes around the guy. So he takes awesome. A lot of shit from us, but at the same time he makes a lot of fun. So it's really fun.
He gives it back just as good.
You guys might have seen him on the live stream on the Planets release, I think.
Cool. Yeah, I think I remember. Yeah. It was a while back now, the Planets release.
At the same time, he's extremely talented technical artist.
Well, I think no one can deny that Space Engineers right now looks absolutely beautiful. All the more so since the lighting changes a couple of weeks ago. But just making our survival series, for example, you spend a lot of time down on the planet's surface watching the sun rise and set over the mountains, and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, that's actually, it's a work of the whole team, but we've got another guy here who is called Natik, and Natik was taking care of the whole art style of the planet and bringing it together. Also, Honza Golmic, I would like to mention, and all the other guys in the art department. They are very, very talented.
Yeah, well, they've achieved something pretty mind-blowing when you look at sort of what we thought planets could be like to begin with, and the doubts we had to begin with about how it was all going to turn out, and then you look at the end product and realize.
There was this like what the hell moment, for us in the office when we were developing planets. Like it was looking like okay, like all the time, and then suddenly, Natik made a few touches here, a few changes to the textures, and some changes to the atmosphere, and everybody was like, "What the hell?"
Just sudden eureka moment clicked. And...
Okay, so it looks actually nice. This is really good.
Awesome.
And it's moments like these that in game developments that are like precious.
Yeah, I can totally imagine. That's the pump fist moment where everyone in the office suddenly sort of lets out a bit of a sigh and realizes that they've actually managed to achieve kind of what they hoped for.
Absolutely. Everybody around his computer, and everybody was like jaw dropped, because suddenly we had something that we kind of like wanted to have this, but at the same time we were trying to achieve it for some time. And but then there was this like what the hell moment, and we were like, okay, nice.
Yeah, I remember getting jaw drops just seeing that trailer for the first time when that was released. That's just completely mind blowing.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Okay, how did you get into gaming? Like, what started you off in this first gaming experience?
Oh shit! That's a very old question. I started gaming 33 years ago, I think, 33, and. I started gaming on stuff that was called Philips G7000, which was a knockoff of some gaming console that was being sold in the US. I think it was called the first gaming consoles. Can't remember anymore.
No, me neither, to be honest.
But it's not really important. So yeah, then I was gaming on Atari 2600s, Commodore C64s, all this 8-bit stuff, and console 8-bit stuff like Nintendo. I also collect games, so I have a pretty large collection of old games. So yeah, what started me into gaming? I don't know. I'm a gamer, it's. I've played pretty much everything.
Fair enough.
I'm a gaming junkie. You could call me a gaming junkie.
We're gonna have to see a picture of that collection on Twitter at some point. I
will make a photo of this because I have it in the basement in the cardboard boxes.
Oh right, isn't it not on display? Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. In which case, okay, if it's not really what's your first game, what would you say are the games you really think were the ones? Then?
RPGs.
What are your
RPGs.
RPGs.
Yeah.
Okay. Any particular?
Todd Howard's stuff is mind blowing for me. Let's say like the Fallout series, Skyrim, all these games. What is mind blowing for me is that the simplicity of the design and the replayability. The replay and the crack factor also. It's like mind blowing for me because I spent like hundreds of hours playing these games and trying out all the different mods. I have had all the DLCs, and even though he takes a lot of critique for making the games like the same pretty much all the time, I'm still having a blast playing through these things.
And certainly does an amazing job of creating an environment that's kind of dynamic, which then drives this whole replayability factor, because the second time round it's just not going to be the same.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Just a tiny little change of decision in your path could quite happily result in all sorts of different things happening in the world itself.
Absolutely. And then I play a lot of indie titles, of course, and a lot of other stuff.
So does that mean you've played the competition?
Everything.
Everything, the lot. So there you go. Thomas's Steam library contains Empyrean, guys. We know it for true now.
Yes, I played Empyrean. But let's say it's not my favorite game, John.
I'm not going to ask you to comment on it. It's fine. That would be pretty harsh. Okay, right. There was one question that's kind of cheeky, but I'm going to try and throw it out there and see what you reckon. What do you reckon your biggest mistake has been while working for Keen?
Exploding dogs.
Oh, okay. Yep. To be honest, I kind of hoped you'd say that. So there you go.
I don't have to look further. Exploding dogs, definitely.
The little thinking time that was required there should tell everybody that that one stung.
The thing is that it was done under with a great good like purpose in mind. Like it was not a thing that should have been annoying to the players, but then somehow in the whole process it turned out to be so annoying, and so that we had to take it out.
Yeah, although it does look like sort of the new version of them will be a lot more like intended.
Absolutely. The dogs are actually intended to help the new players get some loot for refineries and things like that, so that they can build up from scratch.
Yeah, I understand that to be the end goal. Is at the moment you can't start in Space Engineers. Certainly, can't remember with medieval engineers.
You cannot start like in medieval, like caveman style. So that we want to also maybe work on that in space. I'm not sure if we are going to implement it in the end, but we are definitely looking at solutions how to solve this.
Yeah, just sort of test the waters and see how it feels. Because I can also see the scenario where it kind of doesn't fit into Space Engineers just because it seems so alien to the environment. You have to, man in spacesuit is suddenly doing survival things like putting fires together, and it all seems a bit disingenuous. This is a question of how far do you go with it? How far back does this?
There is definitely not going to be fire pit crafting in Space Engineers. I can promise you that.
You start in medieval engineers and you just progress through the ages until you end up in Space Engineers. We just need one in the middle now.
The original idea of Marek for medieval engineers is that you start in the Stone Age and then you press your way up. So
wow, that would have been
that's Marek's vision, and I think that we will be able to fulfill that in some time.
Oh, interesting. You kind of always got the impression that was kind of the overriding vision of it all, but yeah, it's surprising to hear that was there. Admittedly, something that I guess is not necessarily about to happen, guys. It's not 2 seconds away. Well, I think that's probably about as much of your time as I feel I should take.
Thank you.
It's been absolutely brilliant talking to you, so thank you very much for coming and answering a few questions. Hopefully the guys know you a little bit better after this as well, and understand what Mr. Thomas here gets up to for Keen Software House.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the interview, and I would like to say hi to the fans, and hi to and a big thank you to everybody who was giving me questions on the live streams that I very often come to, especially wasted space live streams, and yeah, I would just like encourage everyone to visit up more often, and maybe I'll come by and maybe we can talk. And also I will probably come to live streams more often, like personally, so that I can talk with people a little bit more and I'll answer their questions. And again, community for us is like number one. Yeah, so do give your feedback and we will listen to it, definitely. And thank you very much.
Well, once again, thank you very much for your time, Tomas. That was brilliant.
Thank you.
And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit me up down in the comments below and let me know whether or not you want to see more of this style of video, more of me trying to get to talk to developers and give you guys a bit more of the sort of inside idea of what they're like and what they're working on. And as usual, if you did like this video, then please hit like, please hit subscribe. It does really help me in the channel out. And if you didn't like it, tell me how I can improve. Leave a comment, tell me how I can do better and make the videos more suitable for you. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time.